Why Not here, and today we are filming a reading vlog. See, here's the thing. I tried to film it earlier this week, but then it just wasn't working out for me. So we're redoing it because it is currently, right, it's Thursday, right? Okay, so a lot of things are going to happen tomorrow. I have work tomorrow, actually, and then the day after that I have a party I need to go to, and I also need to get my oil changed, so that's interesting. And then I'll probably be filming this, but we're going to be filming about little reading vlog today for the next couple of days, actually. So I'm going to talk to you about the things I am currently reading. One of them is up there, but I'm going to show you that later. So first, since the last time you saw me, I have finished Crooked Kingdom, and I have some clips of me finishing it because that was meant to be part of like my original reading vlog. It was meant to be a week-long readathon, but like that just didn't work out for me. So here are some clips of me finishing Crooked Kingdom.
Well, at least he's honest. They did not just say that. Can someone just tell me why Nina is so ridiculous? Like, she's fun and all, but I kind of don't exactly like the fact that she's kind of using Matthias's like attraction to her as like a boon. Like, I don't like the fact that she's essentially like using it for her own entertainment. Like, I hate it. I really hate it. Like, it's just, that's not cute, Nina, honey. It's not cute. It's not cute, Nina. Like, are we seeing this? Are we seeing this? He was so much more fun when he was completely oblivious. What the? Nina! Nina! No! No! Nina, you travel with Kaz Brecker. And this is what you say? Of all the things. It's happening. It's happening. Yes. Damn it. Never mind. Berries and cream, berries and cream. Okay, it happened for real this time.
I had a great time with it. This was a great book. This book was kind of, I think, everything I ever wanted from like Kaz and his crew, because quite literally there is nothing more satisfying than an entire plan just coming together from the mind of one brilliant 17-year-old who acts nothing like a child but just does everything and leaves nothing behind in his modicum of scorched earth. It was great. I loved this book. I loved the duology, actually. And whenever I get a chance to reread this, I most certainly will. I was not expecting one part of this book. I was expecting everything, but I also was not expecting that one part. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Read the book. I'm not gonna tell you. However, let's just say I cried. I cried, and this left me with such a book hangover that it just was not a thing for me. It just... So anyways, there's that. I finished Crooked Kingdom, which was an endeavor. I actually spent an entire night reading the last part of it. It took me until 3 a.m. to finish it, actually. And it was absolutely fucking hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious because I was just like, over and over, I told myself, you are so close to finishing it. Just keep pushing it. Even though I was thinking, maybe I should go to bed. But then I was like, fuck going to bed. Sleep is for weaklings. I'm a reader. I don't need sleep. I need answers. And then I decided I was going to read The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This came out of nowhere, honestly. I think it was just because I was motivated by the fact that I wanted to pick up Carnival by, I think, Stephanie Garber. I think she wrote that. So I picked up The Night Circus because I've heard like some pretty decent things about it. but also I was very curious because there's a tarot deck that's themed after the Night Circus, and I decided I'm going to read this book before I get the tarot deck so I can understand the references, you know? So there was that. I read this. I finished it last night, actually, and can we just say this book was quite literally just, like, the writing, Erin Morgenstern's writing is just heavenly. That's all I can really think about it, because it really just, like, makes you feel like you're floating in some sort of, like, suspended space while reading. It's like, the way this is described on the back of the book is magical, enchanting, spellbinding, mesmerizing. If you can see right there. And quite literally, that's the only way to really describe this, because her writing is literally so beautiful, so flowy. I'm just like, what? And this was most definitely an adult book. Most definitely an adult book. And I felt myself, like, stalling at points because it was taking too long. I felt myself becoming very impatient with this book, because YA is typically more fast-paced than an adult book. However, this book, the way it was paced, actually felt really good, honestly. I think this was a good start into my adult fiction kind of like dive, I guess, because I only really ever read YA fantasy and stuff like that. So magical realism, stuff like this, adult books have never really been my strong suit, because I just never really delved into it. I think the first adult book that I ever read was The House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende, and that book was so wordy, was so mouthful. It took forever to get to its point because it went down several rabbit holes that were relevant. However, they took forever and the chapters were so long. I had to finish that book by audiobook because I just could not bring myself to actually stare at a page long enough to finish the damn book. But when I finished it through audiobook, it was a good book. It was a really good book. However, I don't think that I would read that again, mainly because of how it's paced and how the story is structured. This one, however, the way it's structured is also just a little bit confusing, because it goes through different timelines and, like, it doesn't really explain everything within the world, like, completely. Like the magic system, I still don't completely understand that. I don't really understand the rules of the challenge. I don't really understand, like, the plot was kind of, like, secondary to the writing, which was interesting to me. And also, there was an insta-love plot point that didn't really make much sense. However, I still really enjoyed this book because of the writing. And it's really interesting because I'm very picky about writing. If your writing is not good, I cannot read it, because if you cannot write a book, why are you publishing one? That's how I've always thought about it. And if you're publishing a book, it has to be your best foot forward, especially if it's a debut novel too. You have to establish a baseline for what your writing is at the start of your career, and then you can show your growth. It's kind of like Cassandra Clare and her writing. I started with the Clockwork Triplets when I started reading her books, because I understood that timeline was before the Mortal Instruments, so I read that before. But I also didn't recognize that the Mortal Instruments was her debut work, and the Clockwork Triplets came out like years after the Mortal Instruments. So when I read The Mortal Instruments, I was so surprised that the writing style had changed so much. I was like, what is this nonsense? But then I looked into it and it was like, oh, so that's why. I'm still gonna finish it eventually. But that's not going to be now. But with the Night Circus, with the writing and the pacing, I feel like this one was honestly really good. I really enjoyed this book. Even the mysticism surrounding the book itself is honestly just great. And I think that's why I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads, mainly because I just didn't feel the need to actually understand everything. I didn't feel the need to be fully immersed within, like, the world itself, because I was so focused on, like, the world she was building with it and the character she made with it. So the plot kind of became secondary, more to the people around it. There were some people that I was like, I don't know how you are meant to fit in here, but I'm going to read your parts because I feel like you're important if you're in here. And they were important. So I'm glad I didn't skip over it. However, I really enjoyed this book. Erin Morgenstern's writing. My God. I don't know how else to feel about this book, to be honest. I feel like if I gave it a second read, then I would understand it more, and then I would actually be able to give like an objective like rating on this. However, as of now, I'm still kind of mesmerized by what I just read. And also, I do adore this book because it's just so different from everything else I've read. And I just really enjoy that aspect of it, to be honest with you. So yeah. And then the book I'm currently reading, as you can see up here, is Anti-Darken by Kiersten White. I'm starting the Anti-Darken trilogy, and I think I'm going to be able to finish it next week. By the end of next week, I will be able to finish this book, because that's just how things are for me. I'm honestly really enjoying it. Like, the first chapter starts off, like, really interestingly. Like, it starts off in a very, not hashtag woke way with some patriarchy. But then, in chapter 3, we get, some father-daughter bonding, and it was great. It's great. Gotta love it. And there's some cruelty, also, already starting in with it. Like, our main character, she's like a year and a half old. She's talking, not even a year and a half. I think she's like 2 or 3, like in chapter 3 or something. And dear Lord, and she's already waving around a knife. It's freaking adorable. And her dad's like, huh, cute. It's just so hilarious. And then there's also some like, there was also some cruelty. Not fan of that. Well, I am a fan of it because it's done tastefully. I don't know how you do cruelty tastefully, but it was done tastefully here, and I'm enjoying it. Also, the first 2 chapters were literally like 1 page long. It's like 1 page, front and back. That's it. That was the first 2 chapters. So, I'm currently on page 13. Page 13, which is the start of chapter 4. And I'm honestly really enjoying this book. It's just like I've barely even started and I'm already enjoying it. I really do like I think going back into the pacing of a YA story, and after coming out of an adult fantasy or magical realism, I guess you could call it, feels very interesting in like the shift, because you can tell the writing is a little bit different. It's a lot more fast-paced. It's meant to keep your attention. However, with an adult book, it's meant to take its time and set the world and set everything up before it does anything with the plot. Even though The Night Circus didn't really have much of a plot to begin with. The plot was pretty much secondary, as I said. But here, the plot is very much at the forefront. And here we're also setting up like some character personalities. We're setting up like how the characters are going to be like throughout the story itself. And I really enjoy that starting point, because with the Six of Crows duology, that reads is pretty adult to me also. It's like that, it's in the middle ground between adult and YA, which is an interesting place to be. However, it's firmly YA fantasy. And I am also very excited to see what happens when I finish this book and what happens when I finish the entire trilogy, because I'm very excited, honestly. And also, can we just talk about the hardback itself? You can see the little, oh no, you can't. You can see the flower that's just embossed on the front of it, which is honestly pretty cute. I'm honestly going to enjoy reading this book as much as possible. I want to get to chapter 21 by the end of this book. But no, not by the end of this book. What? By the end of today, I want to get to chapter 21, and then I will read more tomorrow, obviously, and then read more the next day because I'm going to get an oil change and I'm going to need something to read while I'm there. So, So I will update you when I get to my first stopping point and then tell you my thoughts on that. That is heartbreaking. That is so sad. All right. Why is she such a mood? If you had a knife, you would have killed me. Yes, exactly. And then I could have gone back to sleep. We do adore her. So it is currently 11:25 p.m. and we have reached chapter 21 of And I Darken, and honestly, I'm really excited. No, I'm really enjoying this. This is honestly a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. And it also is very fast paced. Like, we are in places that I didn't think we would be until the end of the book. However, I'm also very excited as to what's going to happen. Mainly because at this point, it's just like, I don't really know what's happening. And I'm honestly fairly excited. But also, I kind of have a theory on what's probably gonna happen. But also, I have no clue. So we're just going to see what happens. And I'm also going to go to bed because I have work tomorrow. And I don't. All right. See you guys in the morning. So we met a new friend today.
We? Or you?
Well, you're the one who said something about it. Don't put it in your drink.
Yeah, because you're gonna become very famous. You're gonna be like, one day you're gonna have 1,000,000 followers. When you go out with your friends, you're supposed to bring me a dessert.
Where's the contract for that?
Because you know I love what?
I know you love sweets, yes.
Okay.
But so does Audrey.
So you did not buy me a dessert.
We went.
Thank you.
You have a birthday.
What's your name again?
Ever.
Thank you, Ever.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
We went to the Starbucks in Barnes & Noble for dessert, Mama. Because the place we went to had like $16 desserts.
Okay.
Yeah, and both of us were kind of broke at the moment. Alright?
Okay.
And you wouldn't have liked anything they had at Starbucks. The only thing that you probably would have maybe liked would have been the croissant. Okay. But then again, we don't have that in writing. So.
But now you know. Now you appreciate what you did for dessert.
Okay. Hi guys, so today's been kind of rough. I've been dealing with some pretty severe allergies, mainly because yesterday I went to a party and we were mainly all just chilling outside. So it's been rough. I took like maybe a 5-hour nap, which was fucking amazing, but also like it was longer than I anticipated. So let me just update you on where I am with Anti Darken. I am officially more than halfway through this book, and I am feeling a very deep sense of okay from this. Like, nothing's very... Oh, God, what's the word? Not much has been happening, so I don't really have many thoughts, other than the fact that there's... Hi. Other than the fact that there's just this weird sense that, this book is just, like, off to me. You know, it's not off in the sense that, I don't know what's going on. It's not off in the sense that, it's bad. It's just, like, not good. If that makes any sense. Okay, so there's been an attempt at character development within the story but here's the odd thing. There are a lot of time skips that don't really make a lot of sense. And then there are also many just like conversations between characters that feel very forced. There's a lot of interactions between characters that feel very forced. And all three, there are two main characters plus the supporting character that are here. The relationships just don't feel natural to me. Like, it's just like there's an attempt at like making things feel real, but it just isn't working. And also, this book, when I say not much has been happening, I mean there's not much been happening because the author tends to just skip over those parts when they could have been when there could have been a great attempt at just making it part of the books. I feel as though this book is too long for what's actively happening. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's the same feeling I had with Cursed by Marissa Meyer. It's just there's too much that's being skipped over to make this a pliable story. Like, seriously, there's been like a change of power, a revolt, and as well as a murder that's just kind of been swept under the rug, kind of. The proverbial rug that doesn't really exist because there is no proverbial rug. It's just the author just never wanted, they just never went into detail with any of those things. Oh, yeah, there was also a war as well. I completely forgot. Do you see how difficult that makes this book to read? Because quite literally, there was a point in this book where there's two different changes of power. There's a war, and then there's like, apparently there was a war that went on for like 6 months. And we just skipped over all of that? I really don't. And the thing is, it's not like this book is bad, per se. Like, hi, Mom.
Look how cool. Look. Can't you get them for me?
Okay. I guess.
Hater.
No, they just look ghetto. Back to what I was saying, this book isn't bad. It's just not good either. I just feel like there is so much potential. There is so much potential with this book that just was not explored. Like, there's so much historical accuracy, there's so much like historical event that the author could have made the choice to explore in her fictional way. And all of this could have been done so. But the thing is, the time skips don't exactly make sense because it's not exactly explained. What the author chooses to do with all of the time skipping is she just puts dates at the bottom of the chapter names. Like, hold on, I'll show you. Chapter 1. This is the year our main character was born, 1435. However, chapter 4 starts in 1446.
like that. A cut, like literally, I think less, like, and how many years is that a time skip? Like, that's a full 11 years. Full 11 years that they just skipped ahead in, and no one, and it's not really explained either in these chapters. It is quite literally just, like, slapped in there as if we're supposed to, like, remember that. Like, okay.
Again, the relationships between characters are just completely forced. Like, so the character, the main character's brother, he's gay. No one saw that coming. Like, that was not obvious from the beginning, which I guess is not supposed to be made obvious, I guess. But it's just like, yeah, they could have just like a romance, but it doesn't need to be he loves him in a romantic way. It's like it's just Radu being gay just came out of left field completely, and so did the romance between Mehmed and Lara, because that just like, that part also just didn't make sense. It's just like, where does it come from? Where does any of that relationship come from? And also, oh my god, the relationship between Lara and Radu is not at all like what I expected it was going to be. It's very obvious that the author is trying to make it like, oh, well, she's not supposed to be like this, but she's always like this. And he's not supposed to be like this, but he's always like this. And it's so freaking annoying. Mainly because it's almost as if the author wants to make it very clear that these gender norms, no, we're not following them. Because like, seriously, in the description, Radu is described as gentle, while Lara is described as brutal, which is technically supposed to be opposite, but the author is making some very plain effort to make sure that, yeah, you know that is not how it's supposed to be. Ma'am, no. No. And then also, Radu getting mad about the fact that Radu is of the opinion that Lara can't love anything. And honestly, I was under that impression too, because she's literally just like, she's given no personality other than the fact that she likes fighting. And she's a very brutal girl who's not supposed to be that way, but she doesn't know how else to be. And what the fuck? Regardless of how bad the character work is, the book itself isn't bad. The writing style isn't horrific. It's just okay, in my opinion. There's a lot more that could have been done, I think, and there's a lot more that needs to be done for this to make things happen. I'm going to finish this book tonight, probably. And regardless of whatever, we will see how I feel about going into the second book once this book ends. Because I swear to God, if this book ends the way I think it's going to end, there is no way I'm going to be able to continue with this series and not throw up halfway. Alright, so let's move along, shall we? It's the way I'm 311 pages into this book, and like, I kind of don't want to finish this last like 150, because things are just starting to not make any liturgical sense here. A lot of what's going on here, a lot of what's like happening right now is making me want to DNF this book, because none of it makes sense to me. Like, these are all points where in this book, like everything that's happening, it kind of feels as if the author could not be bothered to write the in-between bits of the action, so they just tossed in all of the parts that they wanted to instead of like the actual like points leading up to it, like the action, like the rising action, the climax, and all of that. They just kind of skipped all of that and just put in the parts where it's fan service. And the reason I feel this way is because I've done this. Like, seriously, I've done this. However, I did it in a separate Word document. I have a story that I'm writing, right? And I'm at a point right now where everything makes sense. The story's cohesive, and the way the timelines are going,
everything makes sense. However, I do still have ideas on what should happen in the future. However, I have not gotten to those points yet because I haven't written it. So I put those points in a completely separate document to reference later when I am actually going to get to the point of using those. However, this writer doesn't do any of that. She doesn't write any of the build-up. She doesn't write any of the actual like plot points that will make all of this make more sense. It's just she's adding in the points that are added for fan service, I guess is the best way to put it. And it doesn't make sense because a lot of plot points are coming out of freaking nowhere. It's just, it's bothering me. It is bothering me a lot. And I'm just not here for it, really. It's just, like, not that great. Like, I went from feeling okay about this book to feeling, why am I reading any of this anymore? Because if all of the writing is going to be this kind of, like, vague and this, like, fan servicey and this, like, not explanatory at all, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this book. It bothers me too much for me to be able to actually force myself to finish this book, and I don't like that. Hiya.
Hey guys, so it is currently Monday morning. It is not even 11:30 in the morning. I just came back from the gym, if you can see that. And we're on our way to a Half Price Books because I have a bunch of books in the back seat over here that I'm going to donate / try to sell there because I'm pretty sure Half Price Books buys books. I did some research beforehand and I'm pretty sure they do it. So I'm going to see if that's true. If not, I'm just going to donate it to them and just be done with it. But we're going to see how much money I actually get from this because I'm not sure how much they're willing to pay for these books, but I do know I have a lot of them. And some of them are actually fairly highly priced books. So we shall see how that goes for me. But honestly, I'm just happy to get these out of my possession, to be honest, because they've just been sitting on the floor of my bedroom for forever, and it's been bothering me for forever. So we're gonna get rid of these. And yeah, and then I'll tell you guys about the experience after when I get home and all of that, All right. So today's been relatively eventful. So I sold all those books. Do you want to know how much I got for them? Entirely? $24. Not $25, $24. Swear to God, I didn't know how much I would actually get for those books, but there were a lot of books there, and I was expecting to get at least 50. But no, it wasn't even 20. It wasn't even half of that. But either way, now I know the process of it. It's literally just you go to the back counter, they appraise all your books, and then they give you a number that you can either accept or decline. I accepted because I didn't really know where else to take my books, and honestly, now I have cash, which I don't really know what else to do with in my life. So we're just going to leave it, I suppose, is what's going to happen. But, yeah. So here is something that's kind of interesting. Among the books that I sold, was also the And I Darken trilogy. Do we understand? So I DNF'd the first book completely. there was a clip beforehand that will show you that you know why I DNF'd it, because I was just getting so confused and nothing was making sense. Listen, even if I had finished that book, I know I would not have continued on with the series, and there was no point in me having it on my bookshelf any longer than it had to be, because I already had that book series on my shelves for like incomplete. I had it for what, maybe 3 or 4 years, and then it was only this year that I actually completed the series and decided to read it this year. And like when I started reading it, it was okay. It was fine. It started off pretty strong, and then things kind of descended into laziness. That's what the book felt like. It felt very lazy to me, and I just was not here for that energy. Oh my god. It just was not for me, honestly, personally anyway. And I just did not want to like keep going with it. And I knew I wouldn't have enjoyed the series, even if I had finished the first book and gone on to the second one. I just was not here for that. So I gave it a 2-star on Goodreads. I gave my review on it, and we're off with it. But on a brighter note, I have started The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I've read the first 1 page of this book, and I need to get further into it before I go to sleep tonight. I plan on getting to at least part 2 by tonight. That's the plan anyway. Because I've heard really great things about this book. I know nothing about what this book is about. However, I've heard really great things, and I know a lot of people love it, so I'm very excited for it. And also, the thing about V.E. Schwab's writing is that her writing differs very differently between all of her books. So I'm very excited to see, when I start with this, how I will fare with the other books of hers that I own. So yeah, but either way, I'm really enjoying the writing style so far, even the little bit that I've read this far. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm honestly very excited for how this will pan out for me. But on that note, we are going to end this reading vlog because this has already gone on too long and I need to edit it and put it up this week. And also I'm filming another video after this, because it just needs to happen, honestly. So anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you get notified every time I post a new video. I'm trying to post every week while I'm off from school, and I've been getting actually pretty good at that. So we're doing all of that. And if you would like to see more of my content, please make sure you like these videos and tell me in the comments how you enjoy these videos, because I do enjoy reading comments. It makes me very happy every time I get comments from you guys. It's literally like, oh, I feel so appreciated. All right, anyways, guys, I love you, my little Lumas. Bye.